Welcome to Speidel's Federal Tax Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane. This week we're covering 3 of the enhanced credits under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Attend Speidel's Federal Tax Update webinar and be prepared for the upcoming filing season. This 8-hour course will cover everything that happened during the year, and you can see a list of topics covered and get registered at speidel.com under webinars. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act made changes to several individual non-energy related credits. The enhanced credits that apply to families are the Child Tax Credit, the Child and Dependent Care Credit, and the Adoption Credit. OBBBA makes permanent the TCJA's increased Child Tax Credit and Other Dependents Credit, and further increases the $2,000 Child Tax Credit to $2,200, effective beginning with the 2025 taxable year. The $2,200 Child Tax Credit is increased for inflation beginning with the 2026 taxable year. The $1,400 refundable portion of the credit, referred to as the Additional Child Tax Credit, is adjusted for inflation and for the 2025 tax year is set at $1,700. OBBBA continues the annual inflation adjustment for the Additional Child Tax Credit, as well as the $2,500 earned income threshold. There is no inflation adjustment for the $500 Other Dependents Credit. Under the TCJA, the Child Tax Credit and the Other Dependents Credit begin to phase out for taxpayers with AGI in excess of $400,000 in the case of married taxpayers filing joint, and $200,000 for all other taxpayers. These amounts are not subject to inflation adjustments. OBBBA expands the current Social Security number mandate to require a Social Security number for the taxpayer, or if the taxpayer is filing a joint return, for at least one of the spouses, effective beginning with the 2025 taxable year. The Social Security number has to be issued prior to the due date for the return, including extensions. A qualifying child who is ineligible to receive the child tax credit because that child does not have a Social Security number may still qualify for the non-refundable $500 credit. Beginning with the 2026 taxable year, the Child and Dependent Care Credit is increased from a maximum of 35% of eligible costs to 50% of eligible costs, with an accelerated phase-down of the credit for taxpayers whose AGI exceeds $75,000 or $150,000 for married filing joint. The Child and Dependent Care Credit may be claimed by eligible taxpayers to cover a portion of the expenses required to care for a qualifying child or other dependent while the taxpayer is either working or seeking work. As before, the maximum amount of eligible costs for which the credit is claimed cannot exceed $3,000 for one qualifying individual, or $6,000 if there is more than one qualifying individual for whom expenses are being incurred. Beginning with the 2026 taxable year, the credit will drop from 50% to 35% whenever a taxpayer's AGI is $45,000 or above, regardless of filing status. The credit will be further reduced to 20% whenever the taxpayer's AGI reaches $105,000 or $210,000 for married filing joint. Under the OBBBA, up to $5,000 of the adoption credit is made refundable, adjusted for inflation, effective beginning with the 2025 taxable year. The unused amount of the non-refundable portion of the credit qualifies for a 5-year carry forward. During the 2025 tax year, taxpayers can claim a credit equal to 100% of their qualified adoption expenses, up to $17,280 for each eligible child. For special needs children, the adoption credit is equal to the maximum amount of credit allowed, regardless of the amount of expenses incurred. The amount of total credit begins to phase out for taxpayers with AGI above $259,190 and completely phases out for taxpayers with AGI over $299,190. We've been covering OBBBA in recent issues of Speidel's Federal Tax Letter, a monthly newsletter plus a searchable online archive of back issues that keeps you at the leading edge of the federal tax issues that impact your clients. You can get more details and subscribe at speidel.com under Publications. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Speidel's Federal Tax Minute.